Phone on do not disturb.
Okay, done from your side.
All good, man. All good.
Super. Like, am I clearly audible? So, like, let's just clear that part first. Because if I won't be audible, it would be like a disaster.
If you what? Sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
So what were you saying? If you
And no, so basically, I was just asking, like, am I audible?
yes, yeah. All clear. All clear. All clear now. Yeah.
Super amazing. So, all the listeners, welcome to another episode of Growth Journeys. And for today, we have Harrison Cantel, the founder of HCreative and social media executive at Inchcape UK. What's up, Harrison? How are you doing?
What's going on? I'm very well. I'm very excited for this chat. The sun is shining here in the UK. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Super amazing. It is like a spring season in UK, right? If I'm not wrong, or like is it like summer and all?
Yeah, it's literally, I think today is the first day of spring, actually. So yeah, the sun is shining, which is a rare occurrence in the UK.
This is a lucky day, I would say that.
Yes, absolutely. And it's yeah, all the better for speaking to you.
That's also true. Also, listeners, if you have any questions, drop that in the Q&A option. We will take the questions in between and at the end, and you will get the answers for sure. And with that, Harrison, let's just get into it. Okay? Sounds
Let's
good?
do it. Yeah, let's do it, man.
Super. So, like before I go to all those questions around video content and all, I would like to know the story of Harrison, or basically how did Harrison, who was not into video content creation, got into it and like grew and started to help brands. Like, what's that journey, if you can share with us?
Yeah, so for me, I was terrified of the camera and public speaking only 3 years ago, to be honest with you. It's still a very new thing to me, but look, I'm now helping other people to overcome camera shyness myself. So in a long story short, I went to university. I didn't turn up to a lot of my lectures and seminars if they required me to do presenting or being on camera, because I was scared. I was absolutely terrified. It made me feel physically sick. I then realized the power of video. I then realized that in order to build a personal brand and to have a presence online, I needed to show up on camera. I've always been interested in filming and photography just as a passion. And I'm fortunate enough to have turned that passion into a full-time job. So I'm fully self-employed now. I help people to overcome camera shyness. I help people to create more engaging video content on social media and online. I'm also running a program at the moment which is helping businesses to level up their social media and video content in order to create more sales and build on trust for their customers. So yeah, it's been one hell of a journey so far, and I am super excited to obviously be speaking to you and like-minded people, and ultimately share my story and hope that it can help others.
That sounds very interesting. Okay, so you said like you got to know the power of video content and personal brand. Like anything specific which happened because of which you got to know, or like that was
Yes.
just like information and all.
Yeah, so interesting enough, I wouldn't say I was inspired by anyone as such in terms of posting my first video, but what I did was I spent, God, it must have been like 3 days I spent creating this one video, which actually is still on my Instagram. It's called How to Be Yourself on Instagram. It's the first one I posted. And it is literally me talking to the camera for a minute about how to be yourself on Instagram. And it shows me messing up. And actually, that video took me days, not only to create, but also to have the confidence to share it with the world. Now, little did I know that people would resonate and people have experienced the same issues and challenges that I had. So actually, that video resonated with a lot of people and also got me some clients, to be honest, that also wanted to have help with overcoming this camera shyness. So that's where it began for me. That was the first video I posted. Now I post loads and loads and loads. I enjoy being on camera and I enjoy connecting with the world through video. And look, a lot of platforms are focusing heavily on video content, Instagram and TikTok, for example. So it's now or never, people. It's not a case of whether you do it, it's how well you do it.
And that's completely true because I also know a lot of people who were camera shy and right now those who are creating some next level video content, I would say. And like just that transformation, like from I would say the macro perspective, it looks like okay, these people were this, and then they are like, oh my god, wow. But that first video which these guys created with that little bit shyness, that just some doubts that should I upload it or not, like that in itself is a journey, I would say.
Yeah. And I think, look, ultimately, social media and having a business and a personal brand, the most important part is documenting what you are doing. So rather than showcasing, I like to use the word documenting. It's purely recording and documenting and putting content out there that reflects you, your journey, who you are. And I think that's super important for anyone listening. If you're sat there thinking, well, I don't want to share video content because I look like an idiot or people won't like me or whatever. Actually, you are your unique selling point. So you need to be putting out more video content to make you, or to instantly humanize your brand and your business. That's like the ultimate goal, right? So yeah.
Okay, so majorly like you should use the video content to humanize. People should know that there is human from whom we are buying. It's not just the company or the machines and all.
Exactly. So put it this way: if you and I are going into business together, we live at opposite sides of the world, right? So if it wasn't for video, we wouldn't be having this conversation now. It's as simple as that. So you could potentially be a client of mine because of video, but actually without video, we wouldn't even know each other. Potentially, right? Just hypothetically speaking. So with lockdown, with coronavirus, with the global pandemic, the way things are going, video is the way that we are communicating as consumers, whether it's business to business or business to consumer. It doesn't matter, or consumer to consumer. It's all about video content right now. It's the hot topic, and there's a reason why it's working so well, because of this element of personable humanization of businesses and brands.
I will completely agree on that. But actually, this takes me to my next question, which I think that we talked about in the like the last second point of the answer, also the issues and the problems which a lot of people face. So as you said, like the initial days or when you created your first video, there was this one problem that you were thinking, should I upload it or not? And like it took a large amount of time to just record that one 60-second video. So like what other problems did you face when you like got into content creation or video content creation even more? Because there will be a lot of problem, I am guessing.
Yeah, so I think the main challenge that people are faced with when it comes to showing up on camera and putting out video content is overthinking. Now that can then trickle down into, what will my friends think? What will my colleagues think? Do I look weird? Where should I look? Should I look directly into the camera? Should I look at the microphone? All of these different things. Am I an expert? Do I know enough? All of these things play a massive part of the overthinking umbrella and this idea that we're not good enough and we shouldn't be putting video content out. That was my main challenge, and that was the biggest challenge that I overcame. Now, I do have a variety of exercises that I go through in my coaching programs, which help people to familiarize themselves with being in front of the camera and making it a routine, just like brushing your teeth, right? The other element and the other challenge that I faced, not so much of a big challenge, but I definitely did encounter this to begin with, was the equipment side of things. So I don't know about you, but I've grown up around YouTube, watching the likes of KSI and people like that, who are obviously absolutely killing it on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and they have an incredible setup, very expensive cameras, lighting, cool backdrops, etc. So I was finding myself comparing what I was doing in my setup to their setup and what they were doing, when actually that was causing me to postpone putting out video content, because I was like, well, I need to wait till I can afford the expensive equipment. Well, that's wrong. And that is absolutely not the way to think about it, because actually people want what's coming out of here, not what's going on behind you or what fancy equipment you have. You'll notice that when I record my Instagram reels, I'm using the front facing camera on my phone. I don't use a microphone. I don't use any fancy lighting or equipment. I stand in front of a window, I use my phone, and I edit it on InShot. There are no excuses anymore. Video has never been so accessible. So now is the time to start utilizing it.
Very interesting, I would say. Like let's just get to that part of businesses. So So basically, when we talk about videos, there is like this large variety of video content. Like there are how-to guides, then there are Q&As, and then there is like events, interviews, unboxing. When we talk about the physical products behind the scenes. So basically, when you are helping a business, how exactly do you help them to select which kind of videos do they or do we have to create, and for which kind of businesses basically? So how does that process looks like of determining which category we are going to take for the video creation?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. You know, there are so many different ways of creating video content. A lot of people ask me, well, I don't want to show my face in every video. You know, I don't want to. I want to do something else. So then obviously I have to come with some ideas that require you not to show your face, that you can actually be more creative and think outside the box. Are all of my Instagram reels showing my face? No, they're not. And I'm comfortable on camera. I'm cool with it. But I think it's all about balance. I think the most important element and the most important way of looking at it is actually, what are your consumers engaging with most? Do they want to see your face more often? Do they want to see you go live? Do they want more behind the scenes content? I think for me as a consumer, I want to see more of behind the scenes footage, whether that's reels or lives or whatever. I think that's really, really important, is to show that raw and authentic side of your business and your brand, because ultimately the big businesses across the world that are showing more of their behind the scenes and getting their employees involved as advocates of the business, they are the ones that are building up a much loyal and trustworthy fan base. So that is the beauty of knowing what your audience want. In an ideal world, you want to be talking to every single one of your audience directly. That's the ultimate goal. And at the same time, as well, as a business, you want to be getting more user generated content. So you want more of your consumers and your customers to be creating video content for you. For example, on your example of a product based business, how can they get the customers with the products in their hands to then create video content using the products? And you'll notice that a lot of adverts on TV and online are very focused around the customers and the users engaging with that product and creating the video content themselves. One prime example, which I've got a post going out about soon, is GoPro. So GoPro, the small action cameras, all of their adverts are created by their customers, because look, their customers are into extreme sports and they do crazy stuff with these cameras. So actually they form really, really good, form a good basis for content around that product. And they show exactly the power, the quality, the durability, everything. And look, their customers are creating content for them. What a beautiful position to be in.
I would agree with that GoPro part, because I also have some friends who like create videos and they have this GoPro which they like had lost a lot of time. It had been fell in a river and all, but still it is working. So they are like, this is such a great product and all. So I would agree on that part. Otherwise, I would not have bought a GoPro also. And specifically, I think there is one GoPro camera where it shows that a 3D kind of view, and like the stick which we use is just it goes invisible. So these kind of things also, like I think so. I won't say for them, but this kind of like excites the customers to create videos, because it's such a cool thing to do, and everyone, I personally believe, would like to be that cool person in the gang by using all these products.
Yeah, and I think, look, GoPro is obviously an upmarket action camera. It's quite expensive. It's not the most affordable. It's great. I've got one and I use it. I attach it to my drone and I fly around and it's great and I'm happy with it. But at the same time, and look, it goes back to this whole equipment thing. I have a decent DSLR camera that I use for filming weddings and client videos, right? So I could have a fancy setup if I wanted to. I could film my reels on a professional camera, but I don't, because I'm trying to save time. I want to batch create a load of reels. I just want to do it there and then when I'm feeling creative and post it out to the world. I'm not fussy about the post-production / editing. I'm more focused on what I'm talking about and making sure that I'm helping people. I don't care what it looks like as such. I don't care whether it's 4K or 1080 or whatever, or whether my background is blurred or the lighting is perfect. As I said, man, I stand in front of a window with my phone and I hit record.
Okay, that makes sense. So majorly, I think so it depends on the business also till a good extent. But customer created content or videos is like the most preferred one because that actually shows that people are loving this product.
Yeah, and I think video is a great way of building a community and getting everyone involved. So whether it's webinars, let's not forget that this, Zoom webinars, etc., that's video content. This can be chopped up and repurposed and whatever. And I think that's the beauty of video. There's so much you can do with it. And I just want everyone to know that you don't have to show your face 24/7. Although it's the best way to humanize your brand, it's not essential every single day that you show your face. There are many other ways, such as animations and time-lapse videos and videos of you unboxing things and reviewing them, etc. There are many, many different ways to create video content. But for me, my business and my brand has been built on this. It's face-to-face communication through a video platform like Zoom or Instagram or LinkedIn.
Very interesting, I would say. Well, this also takes me to this next question, because as we talked about, you use mobile phone to record reels and you like create this bunch of videos like as soon as possible. And I've heard a lot of time is that creating a video is not like the hardest part, but basically planning is like the more critical than the actual recording. So like, what are your thoughts on this thing? And at the same time, how exactly you personally plan a video for a business? So this is like a one question with two questions at the same time. First is basically how exactly is the planning part important, or like what are your thoughts on it? Second, what's the process you follow for the business or for the video of a business?
Yeah, so in terms of the planning, a lot of people like to script. A lot of people use teleprompter apps where you can literally read it line for line as you're saying it. I don't like that because I think it makes people sound like a robot, because I can tell when someone is doing this and reading a script. It just takes away the human element, which is ultimately what you're trying to achieve, the humanization side of things, but actually you're being a robot by reading a script. So for my reels, sometimes I don't even use this method, but certainly in the early days I did. Pointers, 3 to 5 different points that you want to cover in your video. Now, why only 3 to 4 pointers? Well, firstly, pointers not script, because it stops you from waffling, it stops you from going off topic, and it ensures that you say everything you need to in that video. So these 3 to 5 pointers will be covered regardless, but you're not having to focus on a word by word script. So I think that's really important. In terms of planning the actual videos, so I batch create a lot of my content when I can. I will batch create content 7 days in advance usually, but occasionally, like the last few days, I've just kind of created a reel based on a trending audio that I found or that I wanted to do, very spontaneous. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, to be honest, but I do believe that batch creating at least 7 days in advance is going to save you a lot of time and stress, because the last thing you want to be doing is sitting there every morning thinking, oh, what can I post today? There's nothing worse. It's not sustainable, and you will get burnt out. I've been there many times. It's something I'm still working on, but I will always have at least 7 posts ready to go at any time. Now, in answer to your second question, in terms of kind of, I'm so sorry, I've completely forgotten the second part of the question, but it was about.
And no, so basically the second question is, what process do you follow while you are planning a video for a business? So like, what are the metrics, what are the stages and all?
Yeah, so I was kind of touching on that in terms of the batching. It's nothing extravagant. It's a case of coming up with, let's say, 20 content ideas. This could be based on people that are commenting on my content saying, look, I'm really struggling with this, can you help me with this? That will form the basis of my content. I am a people person. I listen to what people are saying and I act on it, and I make content around their pain points and help them solve the challenges that they're experiencing, right? So that's the start. So it's coming up with the ideas based on my previous comments or frequently asked questions or whatever. It's then a case of creating, so getting 4 or 5 different t-shirts ready to change, filming a video, changing my t-shirt, filming another one, bish bash bosh, quickly getting my points across, just being myself. And then obviously it comes down to writing the captions. So my caption writing is pretty much exactly how I speak. I don't really plan my captions ahead. I write them based on whatever is in the video. I'm not someone that plans content down to every single word and every single point, to be honest with you. I pride myself on being myself, and if people like that, great, come on the journey with me. If they don't, there's plenty other people that can help them and they can resonate with. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm just doing what I do and helping as many people as possible.
Okay, so maybe you do the same thing for the businesses also, that see, I'm going to take these 20 ideas to solve this particular problem which you like shared with me through the FAQs, and this is something which I'm going to do. I'm going to batch create, I'm going to upload it. That's it. There's no more details which you should know, like something on these lines.
Yeah, so for the businesses that I work with, it's mainly about clarity. So allowing them to see that actually one long form video that they've done, or one YouTube video, or one product explainer video, for example, can be chopped into 20 or 30 short form videos. And I think that's where the light bulb moments happen, right? Is when they think, oh my God, like I had a 10-minute video and now I've got 10 1-minute videos that I can post out and share that could then be turned into 5 or 6 carousels or 15 single images, for example. So repurposing is a game changer. And that's something that I help my clients with. But at the same time, as I mentioned at the start, my passion started with photography and videography. So I'm actually going into businesses around the UK and filming promotional videos for them with my camera and piecing them together for their website and social media. So it's kind of like a two-pronged attack. I've got the coaching side of things, and then I've got the actual going in and filming things, creating the content. But for sure, one of the main focuses for me is giving my clients clarity and allowing them to see the power of repurposing and batching, because ultimately it saves time, and time is money.
That's true. Time is money. By the way, as you said, you go there to record those promotional videos. Like anything which you can share about that particular process, because I think that would be interesting thing to talk about.
Yeah, I think I focus the videos around a day in the life. So what I pitch to the business or tell them that I'm going to do is focus on a day in the life of that business. So what are the things that they're doing every single day? What are their employees doing? How can we get their employees involved in the video? How can we show the processes behind the scenes? And again, just giving it that human element and the insight that people want that they haven't had before. They can then use that video how they wish, but I always recommend that is the header on their website, and it goes into some paid ads on social media, Facebook and Instagram, for example. So that's the process I follow, just literally capturing as much as I can on a day for that business, and then obviously talking about repurposing that and putting that out to different platforms. But it just gives a real insight into that business that maybe people hadn't had before seeing the video.
That sounds very. I think that is something which I saw Gary also do a lot of time, right? I mean, there's this person who, with a camera, always recording Gary and the whole company, and that actually I think, brings that human element which I think we are talking about.
Yeah, and on the topic of Gary Vaynerchuk as well, you know, he walks around New York with his iPhone, which is not the latest iPhone. He wears wired Apple headphones, not AirPods. You know, he is the epitome of authenticity, and he is so comfortable being himself. And actually, that's why he is now the leading guy when it comes to digital marketing and business. And yeah, like you said, his team follow him around, and that's actually when they capture his best content, is when they're walking around and he comes out with something, or he's engaging with someone, you know, in public or whatever. That's ultimately where the best content comes from. So yeah, I just think, look, don't overthink it, people. Don't overthink it. Just document what you are doing, and actually you'll find that you'll get a lot of people resonating with that, and your community will start to build.
That actually makes sense. Okay, so with that, let's move to the next question. That is basically, so like as we talk about the, I would say the videos and all, I've heard a lot of time from a lot of people that the initial 2 to 3 to 5 seconds are like the most important part. This will decide that the consumer is going to watch it till the end, or is just going to leave or not. So like, first of all, what are your thoughts around this thing? Like, do you believe this, or you are like, no, there are other things also?
No, I mean, there are other things, but I do agree it's super important. So we as consumers are so busy. So we need, if we're going to engage with content, it needs to be thumb stopping, right? It needs to stop our thumbs from scrolling. And that is where short form video and having a hook is so important. So I use the anagram PI, pull-in effect. How can we pull people in? Think of it like fishing, right? So when you go fishing, you have your hook and you have the bait that you put on the hook. What does that bait and hook do? It attracts the fish to the fishing line. Then the fish gets caught. We have the fish, and then it's up to us to decide what we do with it. So when it comes to video, within the first 3 seconds, we need to demand attention. How can we do that? We could create movement. We could ask a rhetorical question. We could state a fact. We could prod a pain point. That is absolutely something that's the first thing we need to do, right? Then once we've got that, we then decide, right, what can we do? What do we want these people to do? What call to action do we need to give them? We want them to continue watching the video. So for example, you hook them in the first 3 seconds. You then prod the pain points. What are the pain points they're experiencing? What are the challenges they're facing? And how can we solve them? So then you give them the solutions. Then I always like to over deliver. So I give them a bonus, whether that's a bonus tip or a tool they can use. Then I give them a call to action. Want to learn more about engaging videos? Hit the link in my bio and sign up to my program, for example. So that's kind of how I structure it. And that's the importance of a hook. Put it this way. Imagine creating a video that's taking you 2 hours and no one watches it. That's the difference between having a good hook and a no hook or a bad hook. If your hook is strong enough, you'll entice them in to watch the rest of the video and maybe even watch it a couple of times and tell their friends about it as well.
Okay. So hook is like one of the most important, I would say. This is going to decide every single thing.
Yeah, I think ultimately your video should start with some sort of hook. Now, some people bring the hook in later, but as a basic structure, it's got to be hook, pain point, solution, bonus, call to action. That's what works for me, and that's a basic structure. Okay, I don't always follow it exactly like that, but that is a structure. If you're looking to start creating short form video content, then absolutely that's the way to do it.
Okay, and you do the same thing when you're like recording that promotional or advertisement videos. You just show that movement of people, and people are okay, something is happening here, or like some other fact about the business and all.
Yeah, so it's slightly different. It differs slightly when I'm going to these businesses and creating the videos for them, because obviously the video is slightly longer, so it can be up to 60 seconds, whereas my reels on average between 15 and 45 seconds. But there still has to be that opening shot. So a lot of the businesses I'm working with, I'll go in and take a drone shot, for example, or at weddings, the first shot will be an opening drone shot over the venue, for example. So that instantly pulls you in. But I think the difference is with that is that it's slightly longer form. So there's maybe multiple hooks. But ultimately, yeah, it's all about the visual and how things come across instantly and how we can keep people watching. That's the goal, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, that's the goal. And I think so, like Mr. Beast also do this thing like very amazingly. You know, like I mean, first of all, the titles of his videos like $1 lakh, $1 million giveaway. I'm like, okay, let's just check it out. And you know what I think is that when we talk about the videos, now a lot of people one this mistake they do, they talk about a particular point for too long, while the famous people or the people who are famous in video content creation, they have a lot of cuts and they're like talking just 2-3 lines and boom, let's get to the content. And those 3 lines is enough to like just hook the audience or the consumer. And so that is also one of the things which a lot of people do mistake. Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's something that I really struggled with to begin with, especially before Instagram Reels started, where we could do 60-second videos on our feed. I think the beauty of Instagram Reels and TikTok, for example, is that it actually forces us to articulate our message in a short amount of time. So I used to be guilty of waffling. So when it came to coaching and things like that, I would actually speak too much around the point, for example, and then actually the person would be confused. So now what I do is deliver the punchline, deliver the value instantly to ensure that it's easy to digest. And that's the beauty of Reels and TikTok. It has forced us to get our point across quicker, because if you don't get your point across in the first few seconds, you've lost your viewer. And eventually you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get no views, no engagement, no customers. You know, it's a downward spiral from there. So you have to get to the point straight away.
That makes sense. Okay, so there is one question from like Andrew, and he's asking. So there are like 3 questions which he's asking. We would go like one by one. First of all, what are your thoughts on the length of the video? So as we talked about right now, that 60 seconds forced us to just comprise our points, like to get to the point as quickly as possible with the clarity. So this is a good thing, of course, till some extent, but then we are getting less time to express and elaborate, right? So like how exactly the length matters, and if we are creating videos for a business, should it be long, should it be short, should it be medium length, like how, what exactly length is preferred according?
So a lot of people may not agree with this, but look, I'm here to share my opinion and my experience. If you are creating video content for your personal brand or your business, it should not go above 60 seconds. It's as simple as that. And actually, 60 seconds is a hell of a long time when you think about it. When you think about sitting there for 60 seconds watching a video, it's a long time when you've got so much going on in your day. You've got meetings, calls, you're engaging with other content, you're creating your own content. It's a long time, right? Sounds crazy, but actually the optimum time for a social media social media video right now is between 12 and 17 seconds, which again, that doesn't sound like a long time, but actually, if you sit there and hit record and just stand there staring at a camera for 17 seconds, it feels like a lifetime. But this is the importance of having a bit of a structure and ensuring that you're getting your point across. So you'll notice that my Instagram reels and my videos on LinkedIn are all under a minute. Most of them are under 30 seconds, to be honest with you. I think as well, just going off of that in terms of the length, you need to be speaking to your followers and your customers and seeing and checking your insights. What is the watch time? Are people watching your video 2 or 3 times? Great. Or are they only watching half of it? Are they clicking off of it after 10 seconds? Okay, why? Maybe because you're leaving the value too late or you're taking too long to get to the point. But yeah, in answer to the question, definitely under 60 seconds. But again, it depends on the content, because if you're putting out videos on YouTube, then obviously longer form is great. And videos on there are more searchable. But if you're talking Instagram and LinkedIn, which are my 2 focus platforms, it's got to be short, snappy, and concise.
That makes sense. And like it should not matter that what exactly message you are trying to share, because that is something which you have to articulate in a particular manner so that you can share it within the time or like as early as possible. Because if the message is transferred, now the only thing which we need is nothing. I think the whole purpose of the video is to share that message.
Yeah, and look, if you've got longer form content, so if you've got a 10-minute video that you're really, really keen to post out, then why not make it into a series? Why not make it into a 10-part series? So you've got 1 minute per part, which builds up this 10-part series. So for example, how to overcome camera shyness. If I had a 10-minute video on that, I'd make it into 10 points, 10 ways to overcome camera shyness. And that's a series. So that's something I did on Instagram Reels. I did it with a hooks series and a transition series. So how to create good video hooks and how to create good video transitions. Because I had 5 of them, rather than squeezing them all into one video, I created a 5-part series. It makes people want to come back for more. If you make them engaging and you give them a call to action to say, look, come here tomorrow for part 2, it's going to work. And funnily enough, I'm running one on LinkedIn as we speak, which is actually about video hooks. So today is day 2 of it. Tomorrow I'll be posting out part 3, which is another hook for people to try and use.
This is very interesting, I would say. Because okay, so like if we try to see as a business, I took a topic. I'm like, okay, for my business or for my company or the brand, I'm going to create this video. But instead of just creating that long video, just create 10 ways. Every single way, every single point, every single video. Like you got this large amount of content already without any other issue.
Exactly. Everyone here is sitting on a bank of content ideas and content material. It's just getting that clarity and seeing, well, actually, I can turn this into content, that into content. I'll never run out of content ideas. You could tell me your business right now. If we didn't know each other, you could tell me what you do for a living and I could give you 50 content ideas straight away. And I think that's the beauty of it, is seeing around you what you can and can't showcase, but actually, or document even. So actually, you're surrounded by content ideas. If you listen to an hour podcast, you should get at the very least 10 content ideas just from that. So it's all about finding where to get the content from, also looking at your comment section, looking at the messages and conversations you've had with people and seeing what are they struggling with. and talk to those people and solve those problems.
I think that as a business, that would be like the best thing to do. Like, if your customers or people who are using your product are facing a problem, just provide the solution. They will watch it because they are already facing the problem. They are looking for a solution. So yes,
Yep.
that's interesting.
And if they see that you're able to help them in the future, then obviously they're going to stick around, and then they're going to pay you.
Yeah, and they're going to be a part of your community, and then the word of marketing will be there, and like all those other things.
Man,
So yes.
I've never paid a penny for paid advertising for myself. It's just all based on word of mouth. If I go to a wedding and do a wedding video for a couple and they really like it, they tell their friends, and then their friends will book me for a wedding. And that's just how it is. I truly believe that word of mouth marketing is the most powerful way of marketing a product or a business. If you can get testimonials and turn them into content, you're winning.
That's so true. It is more kind of a referral thing, that if my friend had used this particular service or had like used this particular product, and if that friend is referring me, I'm like, okay, let me try it, because he or she is saying that they're using and they enjoyed it. So why not?
Yeah, it's a trust thing as well. And this is the beauty of video as well. People buy from people. So if you can put yourself out there and build trust with your audience, your community, your clients, your customers, whatever you call them, then you're in a good position, because they're going to give you their money because they trust you to get them the results that they want and they deserve.
That's absolutely true. But like, then there's this one more question. Like, as a business, my business accounts or profiles are on all the platforms. So when we talk about distributing content, should I distribute content as a business on every single platform, or it should just be one or two or three focused when, and others like minor?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I know businesses that are on 5 or 6 different platforms. So I guess the first point, or the first response, would be, what are your consumers on the most? Where are they spending most of their time? Because actually, if you're on 6 different platforms, 3 of those may be where your consumers are and your ideal clients are, but the others are not. So that's something to bear in mind. Where are your consumers? That's why I focus on Instagram and LinkedIn, because that's where they are. I have TikTok, I have Snapchat, I have Twitter, I have it all, but I don't use it because my consumers are not on there. Because my consumers are telling me that they're on Instagram and LinkedIn, and that's where they're engaging with me and what I'm doing, right? So that's the first part. That's the first part is making sure that you know where your ideal clients are spending most of their time. But you must treat every platform differently. Whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they are different platforms and different people. Put it this way: if I like your business page on Facebook and I follow your business page on Instagram, and you post the same content every day at the same time on both, I'm seeing double the content. I'm going to get annoyed. I'm going to unfollow on Instagram, and I'm going to unlike on Facebook, one or the other. I don't want to be seeing the same thing twice. For example, if you get an email from an email list that you've subscribed to, and you get 2 of the same email, sometimes it happens. It annoys me, man. It annoys me. It will make me unsubscribe, because I'm like, why are you sending the same thing twice? So going back to your question, I think you need to put your focus onto a couple of platforms, not into all of them, but you need to treat them as separate platforms. So yes, I repurpose content from Instagram to LinkedIn, but I will never post on LinkedIn at 2 p.m. the same post as I post on Instagram the same day at 2 p.m. because I know that my audience spends time on both. So they could be seeing the same post twice. It's all about pushing the same message, but articulating it in different ways for different platforms.
So like, is it like this? Okay, this is the first part, that we have to find out that our customers or consumers are more active on which platform, instead of seeing that where are we getting more reach, because like at the end of the day, we want the consumers, not the reach only. Like that's like kind of the last thing or the main thing which we want from all these content. And this is that part, but still the second one which you said, that okay, we should not upload that same video on both the platform at the same time. But are you trying to say that instead of that, we should do it like this? On Instagram, we upload it at 2 p.m. Then on LinkedIn, we will upload next day 5 p.m. or something. So it won't be like that same video at the same time, but still you will see it again.
Yeah, and that's what I do. I don't. I mean, I do create some content just for LinkedIn, and I do create some content just for Instagram. But ultimately, there's a lot of repurposing that happens, because The way I articulate it, the way I write about it or display it or deliver it is different. And I treat them as very different platforms. For example, I've been on Instagram for 2 years as a business owner. I've been on LinkedIn a couple of months as a business owner, but I've had more clients through LinkedIn in that 2 months than I have on Instagram in 2 years. So what does that tell you? Does that tell you that my ideal clients are maybe not on Instagram, but are on LinkedIn? Or does it tell you the demographic on my Instagram is different to LinkedIn? Something's different, right? And that's why it's important that I tailor my content for the needs and expectations of those people on LinkedIn. And then on Instagram, exactly the same.
That makes sense. But this actually takes me to the next question. That whenever we are creating a video, till some extent we are trying to sell something. How exactly should we not make a video that salesy, I would say? Because I had personally saw a lot of advertisement, and those are like directly selling, and no one would like to get sold, I believe. So what to do?
Yeah, so we've become pretty against the idea as consumers of being sold to, right? If you think of a salesperson, you think of very pushy suit and tie, cigarette in hand, very, very forceful in their approach. For me, it's pretty simple. You are your unique selling point. You are your business, you are your brand. And as I said in earlier on in this session, people buy from people, right? So you are enough without everything else. You are enough. If you just show up online every single day, film yourself, helping people, solving problems, giving value, going live, whatever it is, you're going to get to where you want to get to and where you deserve to get to. But you are your unique selling point. So you don't have to jump on every day and say, hi guys, do you want to buy my program? It's $500. You can buy it here now. You have to build up the rapport and the relationship with people. So again, give, and then you'll receive. But don't ever give and expect to receive something in return.
Okay, so even if I'm providing a large amount of value, I should not expect every single person who is consuming it is going to convert. A small percentage will, but majority, and I have to just be prepared for it.
Yeah, and the majority of people that are engaging with your content are never going to buy from you. So a lot of the people in my Instagram community that I've built up over the last couple of years, they've never bought from me. So people are seeing your content. So the more you put out, the more eyes on you're getting. For me, my main platform is LinkedIn, because that's where my ideal clients are. I've built up a bit of a community on there in the last few months. I've met a lot of like-minded people, and it's a really powerful tool. So I spend a lot of my time on there, engaging and building a community. As I said, I'm a people person. I want to meet new people. I want to network with people. If they need my support and guidance, whether that's through my business program or one-to-one coaching or just my content, it's available, and I'm there to talk them through it.
That makes sense, to be honest. So like just create a community, and that community will sell till a good extent instead of you directly selling it.
If you're on social media and your focus isn't on building a community, you're on social media for the wrong reasons. The clue is in the title: social media. Be social, be a human, and speak to people and build a community. That's what it's there for.
And it's got till a good extent that community will eventually be created. You don't have to force people to be a part of a community. Just I think socializing will work.
Yep, exactly. And that's the power of content marketing. Your content can convert followers into fans, and fans will buy from you whatever you're selling. And that's why you and I buy into our favorite brands and businesses. It's why we buy certain clothes. It's why we buy certain shoes or food or whatever. It's because we've bought into that brand or we've had a good experience with it. So just keep documenting people and keep putting content out there. Because if you could even change one person's life with one post, that's insane. And that can happen. And that is happening every single day on social media.
And that is true, because like I had also got those kind of messages where they are like, because of your content, because of talking to you or your Twitter spaces and all, we were this and now we are this. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm changing people's life till some extent. This is interesting. So yes, I would agree on that part.
Yeah. And look, I think anyone out there that's thinking, oh, I'm not an expert or I don't know enough, I can't emphasize enough. If you document your experience and your story and your journey, that's enough to help people, because there are so many people that want to be in the same position as you, whether it's to feel more confident on camera, whether it's to make money for their business or have a better family life, whatever it is that they're struggling with. If you've overcome it and you're overcoming it, then you can help people and you are an expert. I used to hate calling myself a coach because I was like, I don't have a piece of paper that qualifies me that says, Harrison, you are a digital marketing coach. And there was a massive element of imposter syndrome for me. And then I was like, well, actually, I'm helping people. I'm helping people to make money. I'm helping people to feel confident. I'm helping people to, some of which rebuild their lives where they've lost confidence or whatever. That's enough. That's more than enough. I'm just sharing my experience, just like my mentors and my accountability partners and the programs I've been part of have changed my life by just talking about what they've done, because I wanted that. I wanted to overcome certain challenges in my life. So I looked to other people that had overcome them, whether they're qualified or not on paper, it doesn't matter to me. If they've done it, then I can do it as well with their support.
That's completely true. I would agree on that part. And this actually, takes me to like one of the last questions of this conversation, which is basically around distribution. So as you talked that we are creating videos and all, but what I had saw and till a good extent experience, distribution is like one of the most important and like one of the most hectic part, I would say. Because okay, we have this much content of like 1 hour, 2 hour, or 5 hour, even 10 hour. You have to distribute it on like all the platforms where your profile is. What do you think first of all around distribution? I would like to, and then how exactly do you distribute your content on these two platforms, LinkedIn and Instagram? How exactly that process looks like?
I just hit post. I just hit post. I write my caption and I hit post, and I engage with the people that comment and that resonate. And actually the best content that you can do is the content that people message you about. So not necessarily like or comment, it's the people that message you. So if I put out a post, for example, about how to make more money using video content for your business, if someone then messages me saying, look, I've made a lot of money through your tips or whatever, like that's huge. That's a huge return on my time investment for creating that video. But yeah, there's no magic formula or magic method. It's just hit record, speak to your people, help them, and post it. The best content you can post is the content you don't want to post.
How exactly? Like, can you elaborate a little?
Because it all starts up here. And the majority of people that are not sharing video content, it's because of something up here that's telling them they shouldn't do it. The best content or the highest performing content that I've put out is the content that I A, haven't wanted to, or B, thought was rubbish. And it's performed the best. It's got the most engagement. It's got the most people messaging me, and it's helped me build my community the most, because I've shown vulnerability. I've shown my personality. I've shown a bit of an insight into my life, my story, my journey, my mental health struggles, for example. And that resonates with a lot of people that are struggling as well. So again, that's all part of it, is documenting who you are and what you do. And that's enough.
No, but like that is something which we should do. We should do as an individual. But for example, if there is this established business, like should that business also do the same thing, hit record, write caption, click on post directly, or there should be this particular process which that business should keep in their company to distribute that content? That's the basic question.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk, I could talk for hours about scheduling tools and things like that. But realistically, I don't know. I think for a business, if you've got a team and you can batch create content and you can spend the time scheduling it, great. But I mean, I don't schedule any content for my business. And believe me, I could be, because I'm a busy man, but I love creating the content myself and I love sharing it and engaging with people. The difficulty when you schedule content is that you don't always remember when it's going out. So you sometimes forget to engage, etc. I think there is a definite time-saving element when it comes to scheduling. But if you do want to schedule content, I'd recommend scheduling 2 to 3 posts a week. But then in between that, creating content that's ad hoc and spontaneous, that You just enjoy creating because you have to enjoy the process. Don't just see it as a tick box exercise. And that's the danger of scheduling, because it becomes a tick box. Oh, I need to schedule 3 posts this week. No, you need to enjoy creating 3 posts this week and engaging and building a community. It's not just a case of, yeah, I'm just going to share 3 posts a week because Harrison tells me to. It's got to come from the love of the process. And that's something that Gary Vaynerchuk talks about a lot, is you've got to love the process. Don't get fixated on the end result. Just enjoy everything in between, and you'll get to where you want to get to.
That actually makes sense, to be honest, till a good extent. And I think that is something which I had experienced, and I saw a lot of people do this. So what they used to do, first they created a process. They followed it for like 1 week. Then they did some more changes, like some personalization, I would say, according to their schedule or their preferences. Then again, they followed it for 1 week. Then they are like, let's just change the whole process. And they created like a process from zero again, and like they experimented. And after a point of time, they created this one personalized process, which was great for them and they were enjoying it. So I think that something like this can also be preferred, right?
Yeah, I think you have to adapt and evolve. I think things change. I've become increasingly busy in the last few weeks. So for me, batch creating content has taken a bit of a back seat, which is something that I need to work on. I do think you need to be consistent, and I do think you need to set your own boundaries. So don't compare what you're doing to those of others. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 12, for example. If someone is batch creating 6 months worth of content in advance, great, good for them, well done. But if you can't do that, who gives a shit? It's up to you. You have to be sustainable. You have to make sure that what you're doing is sustainable for yourself, and you have to show up for yourself. You set the consistency and the sustainability boundaries, right? You know what you can and can't do, and that's the most important thing. Don't just focus on what other businesses and other creators are doing. I could sit here and tell you my full content creation process, but not one part of me would say that's how you should do it, because I don't know you and I don't know the time you have or you don't have. But all I do know is that you need to enjoy creating content and you need to post a lot more of it.
Like as much content as you can post is like the best thing. Is that like what you're
I
suggesting?
believe, yeah, from my experience, the content that I've put out has allowed me to create a business. So of course I'm going to keep creating content and keep scaling my business.
That actually makes sense. Thank you so much.
I
And
hope it
like,
does.
of course, of course. And like now let's move on to the one of the most important questions, which I would say, because when we talk about any kind of video content, CTA is like one of the most important thing I personally believe at the end of the video. What kind of call to actions are you providing to the people? What are your thoughts first all around CTA? Like any preference, any thoughts which you already have?
Yeah, I mean, look, sometimes I'm guilty of forgetting to give a call to action because I'm just, I don't know, I'm not a sales guy. Like, I don't, technically speaking, on paper, I don't have sales experience. I don't have anything to say that I'm a salesperson. I'm a creative and I'm a videographer by trade. So for me, sometimes I do. Sometimes I, hold my hands up. I forget to direct people to the link in my bio, or I forget to tell them to message me. But yes, a very powerful part of video and a very important element is to have some sort of call to action. So you've hooked them in, you've prodded the pain points, you've given them the solution, you've given them the bonus, and then the call to action. What do you want this person to do next? You have to presume that they don't know what to do next. They don't know how to work with you. So this is where you have to have content that is focused on how people can work with you. So on Instagram, highlights, for example, you need to have highlights at the top of your profile, which allow people to see how they work with you. So after watching this video, go check out my highlight on how you can work with me today. For example, on LinkedIn, you have featured posts, as you know, because that's where we've been speaking on LinkedIn. So having featured posts that say, this is how you work with me. This is how you get my freebies. This is how you get a one-to-one coaching call with me, whatever it is. You have to direct them. You have to presume that they don't know what to do next. So yeah, call to action is really important. And also, hello, Shirley, and hello, Penny. It's good to see you in here. I've just opened up the chat. How rude of me for not saying hello earlier, but I didn't actually see the chat. So yeah, it's good to see you both in here.
Yes, like it's good to see this guy. And I think so Shirley had also shared this very interesting. Like CTAs are crucial, but you don't like always have a sale. But like link to email building is like very important. I mean, just create an email list. I know that is something which a lot of people use to get the sales when they have something to sell in future. So that is also there.
Yeah, so an email list is something that I'm working on. I have a pretty good email list in terms of the people on there because I've got a freebie that I offer on my LinkedIn in my featured post. Go get it now. Is a Master Your Mindset for Video guide. It's a very short guide, but it's also very helpful, and it includes a lot of things that help me to master my mindset for videos. So again, that's a lead generation tool. So people give me their email address, and then I can obviously communicate with them as and when. Now, the most important part of an email marketing campaign or system or process is obviously so you can nurture your audience and you can speak to them directly. But also, if I took your Instagram and your LinkedIn account away from you tomorrow, what are you going to do? If you don't have an email list, what are you going to do? You're going to set up a new one and hope they find you again? No, that's not a good and sustainable way to do it. So what you're going to do is you're going to communicate with that email list and say, look, my Instagram account got hacked or my LinkedIn account has disappeared overnight. Here's how you can get in touch with me, or here's my new profile, for example. So an email list is vital. You have to be doing it. Just like you have to be doing video, you have to have an email list. Something I'm about to introduce is I'm about to take my email marketing to the next level. I'm kind of going to invest in a system that allows me to have email marketing content going out more often with exclusive content that maybe people can't get from my LinkedIn and Instagram, and also to promote things like this, when I'm on a podcast or when I'm on a live. And I'm really going to put more attention into email marketing this year. It's definitely going to be a focus for me.
Super interesting, I would say. And yes, like I would also love to see that email marketing which you're going to do. I'm going to subscribe to your email again. Super interesting. Yes, and with that, Harrison, this was it. Thank you so much once again to take out like almost 1+ hour out of your schedule and to share all these things, to answer all the questions. Like it was a fun conversation. Let me know how was your experience.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm always up for meeting new people and obviously sharing my message and my experience. I think it's super important. And yeah, I really appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate those of you that are in here. It's amazing. Penny, I would always respond to your emails. So send me an email and I'll respond to it. But yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm looking forward to chopping up the recording into some short form repurposed content.
Sure. Like I will share the recordings and all like till Friday or Saturday. Like as soon as possible, I will do it. So don't worry about that, man. But again, thank you so much. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you. Have an
We will
amazing day, everyone.
same to you. Bye bye.